it's Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini, and I'm bringing you another vlog update video to let you know what I've been up to. Alright, so I'm Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini, and I post all kinds of instructional video tutorials right here on my YouTube channel. This video is not a tutorial. We're just going to talk a little bit about what I've been working on, show you some of my yarn projects, fabric projects, and actually some of my pottery that I've been making lately in my pottery class at a local studio. So let's start off. I'll share with you this finished object. I finished knitting this cowl. It's called a gap-tastic cowl. And it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I'll include a link to it below. And it's all done in seed stitch, so it's all alternating knit and purl stitches. Super comfy. I made it out of a superwash merino bulky wool that I had purchased, and I'll include a link for you below where you can get that too. I had bought 2 skeins of it, and I wasn't sure exactly what to make with just the 2 skeins, and so on Instagram I asked for suggestions, and somebody sent me the suggestion for this gap-tastic cowl, and I'm so glad they did because I absolutely love it. It's super kind of squishy and fluffy and feels great, and I was surprised I didn't really have any mistakes in it, except for maybe like the 3rd round before I finished. I looked and I was, instead of alternating knits and pearls, I had like knit, 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 and I was like on the 3rd row of it. So I went back looking to see where I messed up, and it must have been like where I was watching TV and I changed up or something and I didn't catch myself, because in one section I did 2 pearls in a row, and then that threw the whole alternating pattern off. So I quickly got on YouTube and I found a tutorial on how to fix, because I was not about to pull all that out. I found how to fix it on the next round, and as I just went up picking up stitches, I dropped down to the rows beneath it and fixed them so that they were alternating. So I was quite proud of myself for fixing everything so that I get proper seed stitch all the way around. The texture on it is amazing, and it's a really quick and easy beginner friendly project if you know how to knit and purl. So highly recommended. And it's kind of chilly here in Florida. I know those of you that are probably buried under snow right now are going to be laughing at me, but you know, it's windy right now and it's like in the 40s, so quite cold for us here in Florida. All right, so the next project, I'll talk a little bit about this bomber jacket. This is the Charlie bomber jacket by Jolie Patterns, and this is an online course that I'm running right now. So we currently have kits, and we have step-by-step online video lessons going up for students who sign up for the online course. So that's currently running right now. If you want to learn how to make a jacket like this, and I'll take this off so you can see the collar. Has like the nice stretchy ribbing fabric for the sleeve cuffs, the collar, and then also at the waistband we have it. It has a zipper here. This is the unlined version because I have a long sleeve shirt under, so I don't quite need the lined one, but I did make it lined. And in the video course, I teach you how to make it lined or unlined first, because that's how the pattern shows you, and then lined and reversible. So if that's something you want to check out, I'll include a link for the online course sign-up page in the video description box. Another thing that's absolutely fabulous is that there's actual pockets, and they're welt pockets. So I'll be teaching everybody how to do this. Right now, there's 10 video tutorials posted in the online course, so a ton of content to get you started choosing the right fabrics, and then we're also selling kits for the project in our online shop. So if that's something you're interested in, you can find all the details in my online shop. So that is the project that we're working on currently right now as far as my online classes. Then let me show you what I've been making in my pottery class lately. So one of the things that I find as a teacher, and as a teacher that's been teaching the same stuff of sewing and quilting for 10 plus years now, I've always kind of been into learning as much as I can about as much as I can. So I find that kind of when I get stuck in a rut of just like the same old, I will find another hobby, take some local classes, and sign up to do something else. Now, I used to do pottery, I want to say 14 years ago, when I lived in Boston for a short period of time. And I had access to a studio there, so I started throwing on the pottery wheel and doing all that. So last year, I jumped back into it, and I found a local pottery studio because I wanted to sign up my kids for classes. So I signed myself up, and I now go all the time. So this is just a kind of abstract bowl that we made, learning how to, this wasn't on the wheel, and it wasn't, I mean, I guess it's hand built, but I used kind of like these casts that the studio has in different shapes. So I just cut this out, kind of made like a wobbly cut all the way around it. I textured it on the inside, and then I draped it over and kind of just pinch it like that. So it's a cool, funky platter, and I usually will use glazes that are all kinds of crazy colors. So for this one, I just wanted to use, I think it was called, I have wool stuck to my lip gloss. I think it was called like Sugar White or something. So I like it. It came out pretty cool, funky. And this is one of the things that as a teacher, I try to jump into new things because it allows me to view a craft with fresh new eyes. So it helps me when I'm teaching classes for my online students to kind of go all the way back to the basics and cover things and make sure that I'm not assuming that my viewers or that my students know anything. So I start from scratch. So I think lately, since I picked up knitting, those of you that are signed up for my Charlie Bomber Jacket class are really going to benefit from it because I talk so much. I share so many tips and tricks in that class that I went all the way back. I mean, I'm covering every possible thing when it comes to fabric, when it comes to tracing out the pattern, marking, or how to transfer my technique for tracing or transferring different reference points and marks, lines, dash lines, things for the pocket, notches and things on how to transfer them over to the pattern that you're tracing it onto, whatever the pattern paper is, and then also to your fabric. So I'm sharing everything. I'm assuming the students in this bomber jacket class have never sewn a garment before. So if that's you, I think you'll be in for a treat if you sign up for that class. But that's kind of why I like to pick up new hobbies and learn new things, because I'm looking at it with fresh new eyes. So I wanted to make some mugs for my husband and I that were taller than the smaller mugs that I have made before, but narrow enough to fit inside the cup holder of our cars. So I came up with these guys. And my husband loves black and gold. He's from New Orleans Saints. And so I tried to paint in the creases there, kind of these zigzaggy lines with black, and then I glazed it over with a glaze called Swamp Gold, I think was the color. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I love the texture that I got on this. And then I did a little imprint of kind of like a little rope line at the bottom. So super cute. That one's for him. And then I did one for me. This glaze turned out to be a lot thicker than I thought, so I lost a lot of the texture that I had on this mug, but it's still kind of cool and scaly looking. And this I think was called Red Raspberry, that glaze color. So this one is mine. I use it literally every single day. I love it. I love the color of it. And I think I'm going to try this again. These were all hand built, so I didn't throw these on the wheel. I hand built these mugs just from a slab of clay and texturing it and then, you know, making it like that. So I'm quite happy with the way that they turned out. Nice and pretty symmetrical for not being thrown on a wheel, right? So those are my current pottery projects that I've been working on. The knitting one, I showed you this. I'm going to show you my next knitting project. So a couple weeks ago, well, when I started knitting more seriously, like last year, at the end of last year, I was like, my goals are to knit a sweater. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year. Let's be real, because I am not going to tackle that right now. And to knit a pair of socks. So socks, I was like, they're more doable. So I started looking up some kind of recipes online, teaching you how to customize different patterns. And so I, of course, started off with worsted weight, because Lord knows I have never made anything with fingering weight yarn or sock yarn. And I'm like, I'm not trying to jump into that right now. I'm all about the bulky. So I started knitting toe-up socks, and this is what I started with. And it looks like a little sock. I mean, it's not perfect, of course. There's a bunch of messed up stuff, and I have to get better at making sure I know what I'm supposed to be doing when I say I'm doing it, and then remembering to count my stitches afterwards, because I'm just like, I'll just go another round. But I think I could do it. I think I actually could knit a pair of socks. I did the toe part, and then I have seen a couple different tutorials for the heels and stuff, and then I'm like, it's the same from here to here, and from there up to the cuff. I can do that. So I think this year I'm going to tackle a real pair of socks in some actual sock weight yarn, which I have already. Of course, I've been collecting some, but that's what I came up with. Not bad for a beginner. And then on January 1st, I taught my kids how to knit, and they picked it up super quick, like in a couple of minutes. So my son is currently working on a hat. He made kind of like ear warmers already. My daughter's working on a scarf right now. And then we're all like getting bit by the knitting bug. So I wanted to make more stuff. I didn't have time to knit the one day I was doing this, so I just made a couple different little, beaded stitch markers. This is probably not the best place for this, because if I lose it on the grass, it's going to be the end of me. So I made these cute little beaded ones, and I made the little loop part nice and tall so that I could drape it over even my larger needles. So super cute. You can see my little beads, and I'll give y'all a close-up shot so you can see. So you can see my little batch of stitch markers that I made. My daughter wants this one, but the loop is kind of small, so she won't be using, I don't think, needles this small anytime soon. But Has a little cupcake on it and a pink little bead up top. I got one with a little elephant and then some beads on his little tail end and at the trunk. So stuff like that. These were super cute. When I knit in the round, I just throw it in there at the beginning of the round just so I can feel a little special. Not that I need them for there, but I see people do it. So I'm like, sure, give me an opportunity to throw on a little stitch marker. Why not? So then I decided, all right, I think I can go a little bit thinner on the yarn. So we went to our local yarn shop. My kids picked up some stuff and then I got one skein. Look at this, how gorgeous it is. Colorway is called Green is the Color, something like that. I'll include a link to it below where you can find it. And it's a 400-gram skein of fingering weight yarn. And I just saw the colors, those teals like that. I love all that kind of aqua with pops of yellow, navy, hot pink. I just loved it. So I grabbed it, I wound it up into a ball, and then I was like, okay, what am I gonna make with this? So I asked on Instagram, of course, because the all-knowing internet, everybody has the best suggestions for me. And one of you responded there and recommended this Easy Goes It cowl, or shawl, excuse me, shawl. Easy Goes It shawl, and it's by Finicky Creations, and I'll include a link to it below as well. It's a free download on Ravelry. And let me see if I can show you the picture because I have the cover sheet here. It's in black and white that I printed it, but you can kind of see, oh, right here. You can kind of see the shape and like cool textured stitches. You can't see the color there, but I think it's gonna look super cool in my yarn. And I cast it on, and I hope I'm doing this thing right, but it looks right so far. And I started it, so far so good. All the stuff that it says on it, like I know how to do already. So like knitting, purling, knit two together, knit front to back for an increase, slip stitches, you know, like that kind of stuff. I already know how to do that stuff. So I was like, well, I think I can tackle this one. And I've made a little progress, not bad for a day. A little here, a little there. When I'm editing videos, I find that when I'm rendering the footage and I just have to sit there and wait for stuff to load, I can get a couple stitches in, a couple rows in. And so now I'm on to section 2 of the pattern. So I don't know if you can see that, but now it starts kind of a little bit more decorative stuff. So you're seeing like a chunk here of just knits, and there's like one row of purl bumps and then back to knits. And so even if I mess up, I think it's going to be so textured and there's so many colors going on, I should be okay. So I'm excited to continue with this. I'm trying to tell myself that there is no deadline to finish it. I'm just practicing. And another thing I did with this was that I tackled this project because even though I'm using the fingering weight yarn, which is super small for me, I'm not used to this. And usually I'd be like, I don't have the patience for this. I'm just not even going to bother. But it's that this shawl calls for size 6 needles. So I was like, okay, now we're talking. You know, they're not having me use size 1 or 2s. So a size 6 needle in my head mentally, it was kind of like, okay, I think you can do this. I think you can do this. So I'm super excited. And this is what happens with all of our projects, right? As we start, we start off a little hesitant, and then it builds confidence and enthusiasm. And I'm like beyond excited to keep going, to see all the different textured rows that are in the pattern, because it has so much texture and so many different types of looks with the mixes of the stitches and stuff like that. So I'm excited to keep going with this. And I had heard other knitters in their podcasts talk about how they love working with this yarn, and I always was like, it's just yarn, you know, like what is the big deal? But when you have these indie dyed, like hand dyed yarns like this, I think I'm going to be a huge fan of stuff that has speckles in it, because I find that it is so fun when you're doing stitches and then you look and you're like, oh, look, that one came out in navy blue. How cute. Or, oh, look, a little hot pink one thrown in there. And so I actually am really, really enjoying the little speckles and pops of color that are coming out throughout the entire project based on the yarn. So I think I'm turning into an actual knitter, you guys. So I'm super excited about that, and I'm tackling my first ever knitted shawl. This is like a lot of firsts for me. So my first time using fingering weight yarn, my first shawl, my first knitted project that has, you know, more than just like knitting or purling. So I'm excited to be stepping it up. And then I think I might cast on some actual socks. I have the sock yarn, I got the needles, and I have the patterns. So I might do that next, but I think I'm going to wait till I get a little bit more further along in this one. And if you're wondering about my little project bags here, I have a free tutorial on how to make these project bags. This is where we keep our knitting. My daughter has hers in here. Let me see. Oh yeah, she started just a little scarf. So she's just knitting rows back and forth, back and forth. and she just wanted to use circulars because her brother was making a hat and he was knitting it on circulars. You know how that goes. So that is the knitting for now, the current knitting. Then I'm getting ready to host a luxury quilting retreat at the end of February. And I've been working on the project that I'm going to be teaching for that, making the quilt blocks, and then I kind of got bit by the quilting bug again. So I thought, you know what? I think this year, now that it's early on in the year, before things get a little bit too crazy, I think I'm going to get ready to launch a new free quilt along on my YouTube channel here. So if you're a quilter and you'd like to join in on a free quilt along, let me know in the comments below. I wanted to show y'all some of the fabrics that I picked up. Blueprint, formerly known as CRAFTY, had a huge sale, and that's actually where I picked up the yarn. Where did I put it? Oh, the yarn that I got here, I got it there, so I'll include a link for that. Again, I said this was a superwash merino wool in bulky 100%, and I had picked up some fabric there too. So they had their own line of fabrics, their own fabric collection or whatever, and they had some pre-cuts that were like at a ridiculous price, super cheap. So I was like, oh, I'll grab a couple. And so this is Lily and Loom, that's the name of the brand. The colorway is Dreamfield, and so it's just a pack of 10-inch squares, and I want to say there should be about 42 squares in here. I'm not going to open it just because I'm outside in the grass, but it's a colorway like that. It has a lot of teals, pinks, navies, and stuff like that. I thought that would be cute. I got another one, a little bit darker colors, more modern. This is called Modern Hand Drawn. So a lot of geometric shapes in there and a couple different colors. There's like a teal, a lighter one, a pink, kind of a light coral, navy, gray, and blue in there too. So some different geometric shapes on these guys. And then this last one is called Square One. So this has letters and numbers, and it's kind of more like school kind of primary color looking batch of squares. So I haven't decided which one I'm going to tackle with these yet, but I think I'm going to do a quilt along using my 10-inch slicer ruler. So if you don't know about these, I designed and developed several years ago these rulers that were designed to be used with pre-cut squares. So the big guy, the 10-inch slicer, is designed to be used with these 10-inch squares that you can get pre-cut packs of. And then the 5-inch slicer is for the 5-inch squares. And this pack here, I think I got in a recent quilty box. So these, this is called Wonder by Carrie Bloomston for Wyndham Fabrics, and these are just gorgeous. I have an entire fat quarter collection or fat quarter bundle of this fabric, and I used it for some different projects that I made, so I thought it would be super cute to make a quilt, a little project with these guys using the 5-inch slicer too. So this is currently on my quilting table. I might do a quilt along with a 10-inch slicer and some 10-inch pre-cut squares. If you want to join in on a free quilt along that I'll host on my YouTube channel, let me know. Is it something you want to use your scraps to make, or would you like to use some of the pre-cut packs? So let me know that in the comments below, and I will read them and take them into consideration before I launch my next project here on the YouTube channel. So that's what we're working on in the quilting realm. So pottery, knitting, what else did I talk about? The garment sewing, the bomber jacket classes going on, and then upcoming quilt along on my YouTube channel. So I'm excited for that, and I think I'm going to end it with that. Did some chickens walk across here? They probably did. That's what happens when you live on a little homestead. My hands are a little sore. I'm trying to do some massage and some stretches to them. I feel like this week I've just been doing a ton of stuff with my hands, between milking a cow every day, which I posted a tutorial on how to milk a cow, and I walk you through our morning routine on milking our cow here. So if you want to check that out, you can, I'll include a link below. And we've been cutting a bunch of fabric for the kits for the bomber jacket class. So I'm the one that cuts with the rotary cutter, and I've cut, several hundreds of yards of fabric. And then knitting every day. So I feel like my hands are just like, ooh, been putting them to work overtime this week. But I think I might just take the weekend off and really massage and stretch my hands, take a break from knitting every day, and not cut any fabric this weekend. Unfortunately, I can't stop milking the cow because she has to be milked every day, but I think it's just the combination of everything in 1 week, every single day, just really has made my hands a little extra sore in that department. But otherwise, everything is good around here. I am definitely working on some other stuff that I'll be coming to you with more vlog update videos, since you all said that you really enjoy these kind of laid back and just update videos to show you what I'm working on. It's funny because when I come out here, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, people must think I'm crazy because I do all kinds of random stuff. But it's fun to spend a couple moments out just chilling and catching you guys up on what exactly I've been working on. So I hope that you enjoy this little snippet of my day, and I will hopefully be able to post more videos like this for you coming up. So if you enjoyed this vlog update video, make sure to hit it with the thumbs up below, share it with your friends across different social media sites, and click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future video tutorials, online course announcements, quilt-alongs, and some more of these vlog update videos. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.